Good morning, everybody. I would like to welcome everybody to our 49 Fridays today. Few things just as far as housekeeping goes. I want to tell everybody that next week we're going to have a very interesting discussion. It's going to be with Shorty Whittington. And he was a farm kid that ended up owning a fleet of trucks that specialize in hazardous handling. So he's going to go on how we go from the farm to running that fleet of trucks and all of that. So that should be very interesting. We've had last month, we announced that we were going to do a giveaway with Velocities, our partnership with the Dimension Mill and Elevate Ventures. And we had some free t-shirts to people anybody who registered and showed up at a 49 Fridays was in that drawing. So Kylie, are you available to announce those winners?
Hi, yeah, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, Melissa, do you have that list for us?
I do. Yep. So our winners for September Velocities giveaway, t-shirt, and maybe a little more swag too. Brian Rushton, Donna Zay, Donna's not on this morning, and Dakota. Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations to all our winners.
And sorry, real quick, I'll get with you guys as far as pickup, delivery, all that stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, Melissa will email you for t-shirt sizes and addresses and everything. So keep coming to 49 Fridays because we'll keep doing this every month.
Fantastic. And let's right now, just so Rick knows who's on the call, let's just run through the list and have everybody introduce themselves and tell us who they're with. I'm Bob Shafstall, the membership director at the Chamber, and with me this morning is Cammie Adams and Melissa Hennessy. And then let's kick it over to Liz.
Hi, Liz Cleveland. I am just outside of downtown at the workshop. I manage a co-working facility.
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
Fantastic. Brian?
Hi, good morning. I'm Brian Payne. I'm the airport director for the Columbus Airport. When I saw it was my friend Rick on today, I had to come join on this.
I feel very comfortable now that you're here.
Stephen Combs?
Stephen Combs, Chancellor, Ivy Tech Community College.
Stephen.
Brian?
Morning, everybody. Brian Rushton with LHP Data Analytics.
Morning, Brian.
Morning.
Scott?
Hi, Scott Redelman, Toyota Material Handling.
Morning, Scott.
Morning.
Dakota?
Good morning. I'm Dakota Lamera, Ivy Tech Business Student.
Hi, Dakota.
Hello.
How about Robert?
Good morning. I'm Bob Weinhemer. I'm with SCORE, and I work with various small businesses in the community.
Mr. Weimer, good to see you.
Good to see you, Coach.
Ruth?
Good morning. I'm Ruth Agbeloso, and my company is Women's Financial Empowerment Group, and I'm glad to be here.
Good morning.
Thanks, Ruth. Kylie, why don't you tell everybody who you're with?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kylie Abrams. I'm the Startup Ecosystem Manager for Velocities, which is the partnership between the Columbus Chamber and the Dimension Mill in Bloomington and Elevate Ventures.
Fantastic. Dakota?
Oh, he already went. He just moved around.
Oh, he already went. Vicky, I'm sorry, I'm reading across.
Hi, I'm Vicki Conway. I'm with Cummins Inc. I'm a senior finance analyst.
Hi, Vicki.
Morning, Vicky. Lee?
Hi, good morning. My name is Lei Ping Zhang, JB Sourcing for supply chain and purchasing specialist consulting service.
Good morning.
Morning. Rebecca?
Good morning, everyone. This is Rebecca. I work at Cummins. Sorry, I'm not able to open the video because I'm driving.
That's probably a good idea, Rebecca.
Yeah, we're with you. Good choice.
Let's go to Katie.
Good morning. My name is Katie Rediker with Fly Hill Insurance.
Good morning.
Morning, Katie.
Jenny?
Sorry, moving a little slow this morning. Hi, I'm Jenny Harrison with Centerstone.
Morning, Jenny.
Good morning. How about Abigail?
Hi, I'm Abigail Anderson. I'm with Augusta Storms O'Leary.
Good morning. And I
Morning.
think that completes everybody on the call right now. So I would like to introduce Rick Weinheimer. He is on a mission to help people make their lives better by cutting through the noise, busyness, and negativity of the world by focusing on what is most meaningful, by developing attitudes, skills, and strategy to pursue excellence in all areas, professionally and personally. So with that, Rick, I'll just turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Bob. I'm honored to get a chance to share. I told Bob yesterday, one of the exciting things about getting to share in this format is, Cindy sent me 9 soul-searching questions about what I do. And so I've gained already from just having to answer her questions and be able to justify and think through all that. So that's been really beneficial. Also, I'm going to share with you just a little bit about what I do, but I would love to have any feedback I could possibly have. This is just a win-win for me this morning, so I really appreciate that. And in my first career, I was a high school teacher and coach, and so I am used to interruptions were my business. And so if you have any questions or thoughts while we're going, you're welcome to throw those in or jump in or stop me or wave to Bob or however you do that. But I'm going to share a screen here so you don't have to just look at me the whole time, but feel free to feel like an active participant in this as we go. Okay, thanks to Cammie. I think that's working really well. Again, good morning. My company is called Everyday Excellence. I was a high school teacher and coach for 39 years in the Columbus area. And one of the things I loved about it was when you're a teacher, every morning when you get up, you've got like a built-in chance to make a difference with people, to make a difference in the world. And I loved that part. And I knew that when the time came for me to retire, I knew that God's plan for me was not just to sit at home. His plan was for me to find another way to make a difference. And so that's how Everyday Excellence was born. I retired in June of 2017, thanks to SCORE, who helped me figure out how to become a business person after my whole life of being a non-business person. Everyday Excellence started late in 2017. And what I do is I like to help groups of people and individuals make their lives better, both professionally and personally. Learned really quickly that those two are not separate entities, that if you're working on improvement professionally, it applies to your personal life. If you're working on it personally, it applies to your professional life. And so I do everything from keynote addresses at conferences to individual workshops with groups of people, that can be anywhere from 1 hour, or sometimes they're 1 day, or sometimes they're multiple days. I also have branched into some business and life coaching. That's what I call it in one category because it's the same thing. I don't have any client that I'm just coaching the business side of their world, because we're all entities that are made up of both our career and the rest of our lives. And so that's generally what I do. And one of the things I'd love for some help as we get to the end of this on is how to consolidate that description into something that's more easily explained to people. But let me just tell you a little bit about where we are. What I think the people I work with, and I work with, businesses and churches and nonprofit organizations and clubs and schools. It's a really wide range. It's a wide gamut of people. But what they want is the fact that our world right now is angry. Our world right now is mean, and it's confrontational. And social media is a great link, but social media is also just a breeding ground for negativity. And our world has become self-serving. That's my example. That's Mona Lisa on her selfie there. And overall, I just think a lot of people, really good people, really motivated people, can get discouraged on a daily basis or sometimes a weekly basis. And I do too. That's how I know it, because I'm the same way, that there's a lot going on that brings us down. And so I think what my clients want is to offer the people they work with a great experience. And what they want, if they have people that work for them, is they want motivated, empowered employees. And I think everybody wants in your setting, both your career setting, but in your personal life setting, your home setting, people want positive energy and perspective. And then strategies, specifically, what can I do? The name Everyday Excellence was really born from, I've read a lot of Malcolm Gladwell, really like Malcolm Gladwell's thoughts, but it was born kind of in contrast to his idea of maybe about the 10,000 hour rule that Gladwell has researched and believes scientifically that we need to work at something for about 10,000 hours before we become really, really skilled at it. And I don't doubt that that's true at all. I'm sure that's true because he did the research. But my balance on that is 10,000 hours is too much time for me to just look ahead. I need to know what to do today. Just tell me what to do today so that I'm working toward getting better and better, that I'm working toward improving as in my career and as a person. And so that's where the Everyday Excellence title comes from, that excellence is about what you choose to do every single day, moving toward a greater end. And what makes, this company unique, I think, is that for 39 years, building a team is what I did over and over and over again. That was just my first career, was creating a team, taking a group of individuals and finding a way to give them common ground to understand their roles in a team, both literally in the athletic teams I coached, but also every class that I taught became its own team. And so I have a lot of experience, hundreds and hundreds of teams that I built through the years. In that, you don't pick who comes into your classroom. The computer picks who comes in your classroom. And so I have a lot of experience in how to take a diverse group of individuals and create an inclusive and energizing environment, a place where people want to learn and grow. And then I've been fortunate to work around thousands of human beings for many decades. And so I have a lot of pragmatic examples to prove my points. Very little of what I do is vague and abstract. And if the foundational point is, I love to have examples, and that just comes from being able to work around lots and lots of people for a long time. This slide originally said what Everyday Excellence provides. And it worked great until I put this picture of onion rings on there, because I clearly want to say I don't provide onion rings. It's just on there to remind me of this story. But here's a pragmatic example that I use. I just want to share with you this morning. My wife Amy and I every Tuesday night have dinner with our daughter Megan and her husband Ian and our two grandkids Grace and Cece. And we've been doing that for 7 years now, because Grace is 7 years old. And what happens for dinner, the structure often has become that somebody collects the orders and they order out, and then I go and pick it up and take it, and we all eat dinner usually at Megan and Ian's house. And one time they all got our orders and placed them. I went to this place of business and pick up the order. And when I went to carry out, the person working there was, I would guess, a high school age girl. And I say that because it's not like this was her career, and it's not like she was a manager. This was obviously her part-time job. But as she got ready to give me the food, she said, I want to go through and check and make sure we're giving you the right things, which I appreciate, because I've been to a drive-through or two in my time where I didn't get exactly what I ordered. And so she checked, and she was checking, and she got to this one meal and opened it up, and it was a burger, and it had onion rings there. And it was not the meal that I ordered, but somebody in our family had. And she stopped for a second and she said, "Oh, wow, we usually put more onion rings than that in an order." And she said, "Just give me a few seconds, I'll be right back." And she took the container and she went back to the kitchen, and she was gone about 30 seconds. And she came back and she opened it up for me, and there were probably twice as many onion rings. And she said, "There you go, that's usually our order of onion rings." And she finished, and I paid, and I was walking out to the car. And I started thinking about that young lady, and I realized that, I didn't order the onion rings, nor did I have any idea how many onion rings go in an order. But she did. And when she saw that it wasn't right, even though she
Are we all present?
Rick, I think we lost Rick.
Uh-oh.
We did lose Rick.
Bob, a story about onion rings so early in the morning should be a sin. Now
Great comment, Stephen.
So good. I bet we all have onion rings for lunch.
Yeah.
We can order from this.
I'm sure Rick will be right back. Always good to end on a cliffhanger.
Say, I don't have a cell phone, or else I could maybe. Do we have a cell number? I'm sure he's trying to get back in. Unless he doesn't realize we lost him.
He's probably just telling an onion ring story and we're missing it. Let's try to find his.
Brian, I don't think the airport serves onion rings. You're gonna have to go down there and work on them now.
Right? That's going to be, we're going to work on that for sure.
Yeah.
The other day I was actually in there and they served a sandwich and it had an onion ring on top with like a steak knife through the middle of it. I don't know what sandwich it was or if it was a special, but
I
yeah.
don't know that one.
Yeah, I don't either.
Huh.
I thought I ate there too much, but maybe not.
Yeah, I would go try it. I'm sure it does.
Every time I keep switching up, I keep thinking he's coming on. Let me see. I can watch it the rest.
So who has the best onion rings in Columbus?
Musalamis, but they're closed.
Oh,
shoot. Oh, here he is. He's connecting.
Not that I eat a lot of onion rings, mind you.
Such a
they're
treat.
good every now and then.
Rockford Ridge has some good onion rings.
Ooh, they
Where's
do.
that at? Where's that?
Seymour.
Oh, okay. Might be worth a trip.
It's one of the many things I miss from Becker's.
Yes.
The onion rings and the chili dogs. I
Stay
could
close
just,
before you get here.
Tony dogs and onion rings.
Oh, he's gone again.
On again. Shoot. He's back on for a second.
Must be a hangout.
So Bob, tell us how the speed networking went yesterday.
The speed networking was fantastic. It had a lot of really great people doing, and it was very vibrant, and it was fun to see everybody outside, spread out, in as safe a manner as we can do. So it was very vibrant, had a lot of good responses about it.
There he is.
There's Rick.
Hi, Rick. Can you hear us?
Well, while we're waiting, I would like to thank Old National Bank for sponsoring us today. Always appreciate their support to make this all possible.
He's frozen, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like he's trying. It was running so well is what's odd.
Yeah, it really was.
It's odd when it just stops.
There he is.
Are you back, Rick?
I can hear you. Oh, Melissa moved. Sometimes I just check Melissa, see if she's frozen.
Well, you left us on a cliffhanger on the onion rings.
Everybody's hungry. I didn't mean to do that to you. I'm really sorry. The middle presentation and go away so you can all talk if you got gossip. So, oh, that's funny. I don't know if you can hear me. I've got a message that says your internet connection is unstable. I like obvious images. Okay. Let me see. At least for the moment, I can get it back. If I go
Maybe not share the screen.
away, have a great day.
Oh, yeah.
Phew. So you missed the end of the onion ring story?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's too bad. You'll have to email me for that.
I don't have time for that.
Oh, I love that. I did that cliffhanger by accident. And so in addition to the first career experience that's helped me in this job, I've gotten some certifications in the last couple of years. So I have
Maybe call in. Yeah, maybe he could just.
Myers.
Rick, I think we've lost you
Oh, you're
again.
frozen again. Yeah, you want me?
Why don't we try not to share? Can you do it without the slides?
Sure can.
Let's try that. It seems like we have you without those. We'll all just have to imagine the delicious onion rings.
And as long as Melissa moves occasionally, so I know whether or not we're frozen, we're okay. Can you hear me this way? Oh, that was no reply. Yes, it's thumbs up. Okay, because I can't hear you at this point. I'll just talk and look for your thumb. And so like an ongoing relationship, for example, since you connection with the airport and Brian Payne and hop in, present things, but becomes an on oh, Melissa moved. Do you want me to call?
Yes.
Would that be helpful?
We're thinking that might
Yeah,
be
let's
better.
try that.
Okay. Do you want me to call the number?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, here I can pull it up too.
Which you called me yesterday, Bob?
Oh no, the
It'll
Zoom
be the
number.
in the Zoom link.
Do you have that in your? I'll forward it to you, Rick.
Do you have it right there? Can you just tell him?
Okay.
Yeah. Here it is. No. Hang tight here. Okay, so I was given one that says Chicago.
Mhm.
Okay. Rick, can you hear me?
Or is it maybe like?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. It says Chicago, 1312-626-6799.
312-676.
Gives two numbers, but I give him the 312.
Read that last bit again. 376.
Oh, sorry. The last four are 6799.
And is there a code?
Yep. And then there's a passcode and a meeting ID.
Can you hold it in front of the camera?
Good try. Yeah.
called in before.
Can you take a screenshot of that and then text it to me? Or?
I don't think they can text. Well, yeah, I need a cell phone number.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless.
Not working. Okay, maybe just have them keep talking. Oh.
Well, I apologize for the technical issues today. It was getting very interesting.
Yeah, he mentioned Brian Payne in the airport. Now I want to know what's going on.
Another cliffhanger.
I know Brian's in trouble.
Yeah, right. What is it, Rick? He's probably going to say something about the C-119 just to rub it in, Bob.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
I don't even have a email address. It's not. It usually populates. Do you have an email address?
I think I'll be the last one on that plane is usually the way it works. The guy who really wanted to get in that thing.
Yeah, I'll pull that up.
I do appreciate your son's video on that though. That was really cool. You're gonna have to tell him to get busy. I just got used to the show and looking forward to it on Facebook, and I haven't seen one in a while.
Oh yeah, we were gonna shoot one the other day. We went down to the Smoky Mountains and they were gonna shoot one there and completely forgot. We literally were driving back and like, oh, completely forgot to shoot a video. So we're going hiking over in Hocking Hills this weekend.
Okay, well I'll be expecting one from that.
Okay, we'll do that.
There's somebody calling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wondered what everybody's up to this morning. I thought I'd check in, see how you're all doing.
Yeah. Appreciate you calling, Rick. That's really nice.
Yeah, I knew something was happening. I've been here with the dog, and I just wondered what you're doing.
Well, we were just talking about onion rings.
Well, I appreciate that because that connects. Because I'm looking at maybe the best PowerPoint you've ever not seen. So I can enjoy that. Okay, we're reattached, are we, Bob?
We are. We've got you loud and clear.
Okay, that would be great. This is awesome because this lets me know my mom is 92 and she lives in assisted living, so she goes to church on Zoom. But she told me, she said, "Well, I don't see other people. I don't see people." And I never knew what it was like to Zoom without seeing people, and here it is. So thank you for giving me that experience. And thank you for your patience. This is just how it works sometimes. And I worked in schools for a long time, so this is right up my alley. This is what we do. I was just saying, I will get back if we have time to the onion ring story, but it's just a little bit about what Everyday Excellence does that might be unique. Another thing is all the content that I do is specific to a client's needs. In other words, I don't start with content and say to the client, this is what I can teach you. I start with the client and then use all the types of content I've had and find out what works for them. And so it's really client-driven content. I'm also different because, as I said, business is not my background. So I have a note to myself, your business is not my business. You know, my business is culture and team building and positivity and mission and inclusiveness and continuous improvement. You know, how you do your business is your specialty. My specialty is helping with those other parts of it. And then again, I think I'm different from some people who facilitate these types of things because I'm a teacher. And I'm a teacher at heart. I'm not really a presenter or a facilitator. I'm a teacher. And I worked with teenagers for 4 decades. And so when I share with groups, I want it to be engaging, and I want it to be interesting, and I want it to be interactive. When I started going into this line of work a couple of years ago, my older sister, who's in charge of my humility, said, "Oh man, I've been to a lot of professional development before. I can't believe that you're going to be part of professional development." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because it's so boring. And every time they bring somebody in, everybody's mad and they're not getting their work done." And so, you know, it's my goal not to fit into that mode, but to truly give a chance for it to be engaging and practical. And so that's what I'm working toward. Cindy asked about market potential, and I don't know that I've got an analysis of that other than just some numbers. When I started the business, the last part of 2017, I had 4 presentations in the last couple months. In 2018, I did 51 presentations of some sort. And then last year I did 117 presentations. And so it had really grown and was exciting. This year, you know, with all the challenges, it's been a challenge for this line of work that I'm in also. And not that some of our connections or what I call gigs or presentations have gone away, but they've been postponed. And I'm laughing at me because I'm starting to do things now more and more on Zoom, and typically it works a little bit better than how my machine was working this morning. But you know, we're finding a way to do that, and it seems that I've connected so far with 3 types of people. I've connected with leaders that I say would call are proactively investing in the growth of their employees. In other words, it's people that don't think, oh my gosh, it's a disaster. Our culture is a disaster. We need to bring somebody in. It's actually proactive leaders. You know, one example is Brian Payne. You know, there weren't problems there. He just wanted to make things better proactively. And I've had a chance to work with him and Depeche Sitaram at Dental Solutions and Mandy Wyan at Family Wellness. And those are leaders who want to be proactive in growing their employees. And so, you know, that's the type of person I work with. I've also worked with groups of people. It seems like every group, organization, club, business has a mission statement. And probably 99% of those groups, organization, and clubs, their people don't know their mission statement, or certainly they don't use the mission statement, or it's in flowery language that nobody can apply. And so I've worked with lots of people who say, we know we're on a mission. How do we put it into words so that we can continue to grow that every day, but also recognize it every day? And then I'm also discovering, and this is a little bit of my background, I was a teacher and a coach, and I loved it. And when an administrative position came open, I think the other administrators in our corporation thought that I'd be a good fit for that because they thought I'd been a good teacher and coach. And so all of a sudden I found myself as an administrator, and I'd never taken a single class in administration. I'd never taken a single class devoted to leadership. And so I learned as I went. And one of the groups that I tend to work with, this happens to a lot of people. All of a sudden they're in management, and it wasn't even what they intended. A couple of years ago, I did a day workshop on leadership in St. Louis to managers of physical therapy offices. And there were 102 managers there. 87 of them had never intended to become a manager. They just loved physical therapy, and they were really good at it. And because they were good at it and good people, they got bumped up into management, and all of a sudden they were floundering, not because they weren't good people. They just never had any training in how to go about managing a group, and that hadn't been their original goal. And so those are the types of people that I come in contact with. Excuse me, and here's where I would love to have your help, and I know you can't see the slides, but I do a really wide variety of things, and I typed out on this slide about 20 different topics of content that I use. And I love speaking to all kinds of groups. Earlier this week, I worked with the St. Olaf College track team in Minneapolis. And then last evening, I worked with a group called MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers, at Terrace Lake Church. I just love the variety of things that I get to do. But I wonder sometimes if, well, I know that variety makes it difficult for me to succinctly explain to people what I do or what my business does. And so I made this list of 20 skills on the screen, and if I just did one, if I just said, okay, I'm going to only do positive culture and climate, or I'm only going to do leadership, I think it would be easier. and I know I run the risk, but I love doing all these different things. And so at some time, I don't know if this is the right forum now, but at some time I'd love to have thoughts from people that are out there in real businesses that might someday use a service of something like I do. You know, would it be better if I had limited content? Would it be better if I focused just on one type of client to serve? It's really broad and really hard to explain because these opportunities keep popping up, and I like them. And I like working with people. And then my second thought is, you know, I've never had any training in marketing. About a month ago, I did a presentation for a Rotary Club, and afterwards, a couple of the businessmen came up and they said, you know, what you had to say today, every business in Columbus needs to hear that right now at this point of this year, 2020. And I thought, wow, that's a wonderful compliment. How in the world would I begin to let people know what I'm doing and then to get people to buy in that it would be valuable in their workplace? And so that's really what I wanted to share, and I'd love to hear ideas that you have. And I just want to close with, you know, thank you for being patient in how this all played out. And, you know, I'm just like everybody else. I just want to make a difference every day. I want to find a way to make a positive difference, and I'm really, really open to suggestions you might have.
Thank you so much. Let's open the floor to some questions. Does anybody have a question for Rick?
Hi, this is Liz at the workshop, Rick. I was just wondering the types of people or businesses or companies that you've been presenting to.
It makes me laugh because, you know, my background's not in a specific business, instead in education. But I did an 18 months long, twice a month series of presentations with a dentist office. I did multiple presentations with chiropractor's office. I've done multiple things, and we had more scheduled until COVID got in the way with the airport. And I laugh at me because I know nothing about being a dentist or about being a chiropractor. I know a lot now because I've worked with them, but it's a really wide variety of people and places. Did that help, Liz?
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, I just didn't know kind of what types of places you were presenting to.
Yeah, so I've done that. I've done a lot with schools, both with teaching staffs, but also direct work with students.
Is that different age levels of students, Rick, or certain?
Yes. Yeah, so it's funny. So that same week, you know, I worked with that college team in Minnesota, and that was an athletic focus. But then I was doing a series of presentations for the sixth graders at Southside also that week. And so, yeah, I've worked with students from about fourth grade, you know, clear through high school students, clear through college students, and also educators of all those levels.
You mentioned 4 different presentations. Are you still using 4 different presentations? I would assume that they would be from different audiences or 4 different audiences. And kind of what are the main focuses of those different presentations?
I think most of what I'm asked to do is about creating or helping to grow positive climate and culture. I did a keynote for the Bloomington Chamber of Commerce they did a Smart Business Summit in February, and I did the morning keynote in that. But the man that spoke in the afternoon had grown a business in Columbus or in Indianapolis. And he talked about, you know, the number one thing that they believed in their business was creating the right culture and climate. And so I'd say that's the number one thing that I do is culture and climate, positive perspective. A second is I do a lot with communication. What's your communication style? What's your go-to default style in times of stress? What are your coworkers' styles of communication? And then how do we think ahead as we communicate with all those people, let alone all of our clients and customers? And so I'd say climate and culture, communication, leadership, And then I do a lot with stress management, with life work balance. And so those are probably the ones I do the most often.
Rick, I know this is probably like asking you which is your favorite child, but is there a favorite success story that you've seen as far as like an organization that's culture has changed dramatically or anything like that?
Thank you. That's a really good question. I got connected to, and I guess this is a Bob question. It's okay if I call these organizations by name. It's not like unfair advertising or something.
No,
Okay,
go right ahead.
So I actually happened to go to the dentist at Dental Solutions, which is on the west side of town, and the dentist there is Depeche Sitaram. And he was saying to me, he said, I want to grow my employees. I know that they could go other places. I want them to feel like they're growing every day so that they'll stay here and work for me. I want to invest in them. And so we put together a plan where I went there once a month at lunchtime and talked to them as a big group on any one of these topics that we've already talked about, or that I've already mentioned. And so we'd talk for an hour on that during lunchtime, and then I'd go back one day later on in the month, and I'd meet with them each individually on their break time, and we'd talk about, okay, what does that concept look like specifically at your workstation, and how can you apply that concept outside of life? So, or outside of your work life. And so in terms of how do I take, positive perspective and positive slant and embracing challenges, not only in my work life, but how do I do it in my home life? And that was just a super thing, and I appreciated that. And when we did 18 months of that, and I love the ongoing relationship, it feels more like coaching from my standpoint and more like a team. And so, that's not something I would have thought about. He and I just kind of created that program, but I thought that was, really, really effective. And I grew close to those people because I met with them individually all those times too. And so I think it helped a lot in their lives.
So Rick has come here to the airport several times now. And one of the things that we really got out of it is that our employees had an opportunity to get to know one another even more, and how to communicate amongst one another, and how to have conversations without getting into to areas where they shouldn't, and making sure that we can communicate effectively with one another. And I think that's really probably one of the biggest things that we've got to know out of what Rick's done for us. And we had an entire plan, Rick and I had an entire plan this year, and obviously that didn't go so well, how we were going to communicate and do this training for our employees every other month. And then we also had a plan that Rick was going to come and do a keynote for my state organization as well. So we're going to get all back to normal again here at some point, and Rick's going to do those things for us. But I think really, Rick's just a great opportunity to not just get to know your students and your faculty here, what it is that you're doing, but also almost on a personal note. Rick has been a mentor to me. I was struggling with an employee of how to get on board with our culture and what it is that we wanted to do. And so Rick meets individually with people as well, just to know those things. So I can't say enough about what he's doing for me.
I appreciate that, Brian. And if I can add to that, the last time I met, Brian had a new employee who was probably about my age, probably about in his 60s. And I could tell when we sat down to meet, he had that look in his eye like, oh my gosh, Brian, why am I spending my day like this? And when we got done that morning, he actually stayed, and he goes, I really appreciated this. I learned a lot. And he said, I didn't expect to. And he said, I expected you to be, and I'm really not being critical of other ways to approach it, but he said, I was expecting you to be kind of funny games and rope courses and trust falls. And that's not really how I build teams. I want to give you foundational ideas. I want to apply it directly to the mission of the group. And I want to give very specific strategies and examples to that. So I'm not maybe that style of team building. I think it's a more pragmatic, personal work at team building.
Rick, I'd like to ask you, how are you primarily mining and identifying your customer opportunities? Are you doing any advertising or word of mouth, or give me something beyond meeting people in the dentist's office?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think that's an area where I'm a blank. It tends to be word of mouth. My wife Amy is my biggest supporter, and she pushes back on me a lot because I've only lived in the education world, and I grew up with a father whose belief that the number one quality a human being should have is humility, and it felt unhumble for me to market myself, and so I just mostly sit around and wait to be contacted. And so I would love for any kind of strategies for a person that kind of does what I do. How would I go about marketing that?
What would you say would be your biggest challenge when you entered into your business? How did you overcome it?
I think part of it was the literal business aspect of it. It was all unknown. My father was a teacher. I was a teacher. I'd only lived in the education world. That was overcome because SCORE was a huge help to me. And I had Mr. Merritt and Mr. Clark were my advisors in that, and they helped me through all the pieces of that and how to create the business and whether to have insurance and just all the pieces of that. And so that was a big challenge for me because I'd never lived that life, never seen that life. And I'm really, really appreciative for what SCORE did for me.
Rick, I would just like to ask the group as ways we can help you even market yourself is, I know you have a Facebook page. I think it would be nice if we could all get on there and post something about today's conversation. Throw a review, throw a like your way, and start doing a little grassroots work towards that. And then I've got a few ideas for you. I may give you a call later this afternoon.
That'd be fantastic.
See what
I
we can do
appreciate
to
any
help you
thought
from
anybody has.
the chamber side of things.
Yeah, Bob, I don't know. Facebook for businesses is really tough unless you're paying to boost your posts. I've found much more success recently on LinkedIn and kind of trying to build my network there. So Rick, I don't know if you've dipped your toes into LinkedIn, but I think it's a really good tool.
I appreciate that. I'm on LinkedIn, but I have not tried to use it very much. But would your suggestion be to share some content as a way of people getting to know me on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, well, we could go down a whole rabbit hole here, but really building up your network first. Yeah, building up your network, and then kind of, sharing that content. Even if you wanted to create a business page to direct people to, there's a lot of different, kind of in stages, you can do a lot of different things.
Okay, thank you.
You can steer people towards a specific training topic you'd like to talk about as well, which I've seen people do on LinkedIn, which I think can help get the word out, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rick, have you identified any competitors in your line of work?
Well, that's a really good question, and that was on Cindy's list of questions, and I skipped that one on purpose, so I thank you for bringing that up. It's hard for me to identify that because I can't even put a very good handle, and I know it would help people if I could put a handle on what I do. Sometimes people call me a motivational speaker, and I hope people are motivated by the things that I say, but I think that is just a small category. That sounds to me more like a football coach standing up in front of a group and then everybody wants to go out and tackle everybody, which I want to be more specific and practical than that. And so I think there are certainly companies that do this that have a set curriculum or a set content that they use. I know there are a lot of people out there that do leadership, and so I would guess that's probably the competition.
Rick, a lot of what you were talking about sounded similar to a training I had taken in New York City through Cummins Hospitality, and it's a restaurateur that does this hospitality training. But just like, you know, it wasn't just restaurant people that were there, it was people from dentist offices and hospitals, and just like you were saying, your kind of clients are. And so I think it'd be, I'll let you, I was gonna connect with you anyways, but it's Danny Meyer, Setting the Table is his book, and he's got a few other books, and I think that'd be some really good reference points for you, even his website and things.
That would be fantastic. Anything you could send my way on that, I would eat up. Thank you. Eat up was a bad restaurant pun. I didn't mean that.
Speaking of, I just need to know where the onion rings were from. Where are you getting your onion rings?
Well, yeah, because I think that's good marketing, because that high school girl was going to make that order correct. I love people like that. That was Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Good to know. Yeah. Rick, do you have any books or podcasts? Liz's question kind of reminded me to ask you that you would recommend for people.
You paused in the middle of that. Rick, do you have any books? Yes, I do have a book. I published a book in 2015 called Move Your Chair that's about how to bring mission to your life every day. So I'd recommend that one. Lately, I have become a huge fan of Brene Brown. And I don't know if you know Brene Brown or not. I watched, she has a special on Netflix, but now I'm reading all of her stuff and listening to her podcast. She's a researcher by nature in shame and vulnerability, but she knows a lot about how to take our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. And so Brene Brown is I can't get enough of what she writes and talks about right now. She's fantastic.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Rick today?
Just one quickly, I guess. If you've had to flex any with COVID, or if you've done more digital presentations or sessions, have you seen those be as successful, or kind of how you've weathered this storm?
I think that's a really good question. I think I have a hard time measuring how successful, the virtual format has been versus in person. It has made me realize how strongly I respond to the in-person. For example, I was working with 115 sixth graders, and they were in 3 different classrooms, and 40 of them were at home on their own computers. And I just felt like I was talking to myself and just going on with good faith that somehow it's being well received. And the feedback was really, really positive, but I need to see people and respond to how they're responding, because that's my background as a teacher. You can have a great teaching lesson, but you can look at your students' faces and figure out whether or not it's connecting in the way that it should. And then you learn to adapt on the fly to make it connect with them. And so I think that's a question that I've thought about, but I don't know the answer to. I've done more virtual. I've done more Zoom. They usually work a little smoother than today. But I don't know the answer about whether or not they are as effective.
All right, well, we're right approaching 9 o'clock, so we're going to be very thoughtful of everyone's time. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I'd like to thank Rick. That was some great information, and I know I'm chewing on a lot of things from that. And remind everybody that next week, Shorty Whittington will be here. That should be another vibrant discussion. Rick, thank you so much. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I think we managed to plow through it and still get that information out.
Well, yeah, and I just want to, I mean, I'm truly humbled that people would spend their time. I know your time is a gift, and so thank you for that gift today, and anything you can share to help me make a difference, I will certainly take advantage of. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, and thank you, Rick, and everybody, enjoy your Friday and have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rick.